Welcome back to Truth Hurts, where we expose corrupt politicians and lying corporate media. I'm Jake Duesenberg, your host, broadcasting live from Roseville, Minnesota. In the belly of the beast, the liberal zombie apocalypse of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Some call it the land of Tim Walz. 1,000, 10,000 frauds going on over here. That's going to be the big story we're going to talk about today. Also going to talk about the new candidate running for governor of Minnesota. This episode is brought to you by Alpine Cabinetry in the great city of St. Cloud, Minnesota. We're also brought to you by Elite Guardian, which is a prepper company. Go to eliteguardianmn.com. And joining me to, I was going to say third wheel, but that doesn't really make sense because it's just us two, is my good college roommate, Andy Parrish. How you doing, Andy?
What? No. Oh, wait. I got to bring my own walk-up music. Here we go. Everybody's got to have their own walk-up music. You got to bring that with you wherever you go. This is AI. It's also the intro to my show, which I got to get Jake back on. Why don't you come down here to the Onalaska area and get on my show? I mean, you know how people would pay, I bet, Jake.
You know, it's interesting. You know, Andy Parrish, for those that don't know, used to run... well, he did a lot of things in Minnesota, but was big in the political scene in Minnesota, then moved to Wisconsin, to my hometown, to try to take away all my friends from growing up and even have my parents disown me. Well, not as
your
much
mom loves me way more than she loves you now.
Not quite, not even close. But anyhow, Andy, it's going to be interesting to get your perspective what's going on in Minnesota because you're a native from Minnesota, although you're kind of seeing it from the outside. But before I even get started in Minnesota politics, I think it's very important to understand that we are in the presence of a celebrity, folks. At a certain point yesterday afternoon, I had multiple people reach out to me, and they alerted me that Andy Parrish is on the world's largest podcast.
I'm my own business, and the French, the French and Candace decided to talk about me. It was a little weird, but
yes, that is true. So here, without further ado, this on my X account. This is Andy Parrish on Candace Owens' show yesterday. Here we go.
The Ministry of the Armed Forces formally denies that another Foreign Legion training exercise took place at a supposed Camp Riley in Minnesota after the conclusion of the California exercise, and for good reason, because no Camp Riley exists in Minnesota. As Andy Parrish, the former chief of staff to the Republican state representative, pointed out on X. Oh, there is, however, a Camp Ripley, they go on.
Come on, Candace.
Speaks volumes about the credibility of Candace Owens' alleged source.
Yeah, you all right over there, Jake? It sounds like somebody's killing a hyena with how heavy you're breathing.
Forces formally denied.
All right, Andy. I think that's interesting. Candace is very fascinating right now, very spicy. I have no idea how much stuff she's saying is true and accurate, but she's been right on a couple things that's kind of propelled her to the main stage. I took your tweet as just kind of correcting the record, but what I found really... Oh, go ahead.
That's all I was doing was saying, hey, just an FYI. I mean, Candace and I mean, we agree pretty much on everything, even though she's gone a little off on the deep end lately, but I mean, her and I are on the same page. I was just correcting her.
Well, what I find very fascinating, because this apparently came out from the French Ministry of Armed Forces, this is their correction to what she said. She just misspelled Camp Ripley or misstated it. No offense there. You're not from it. Why would you know what Camp Ripley is? But then they put Andy Parrish, former chief of staff of a Republican state representative. So their correction was incorrect.
It's wrong.
Yeah, you've never been a chief of staff of a state representative. You have of a U.S. representative, but not a state representative.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things. One of them, Jake, is that if you're Candace Owens, look, you're talking about a guy who then waited till he was like 44 to be diagnosed with dyslexia and dyscalculia, moderate dyslexia and dyscalculia, though you probably knew that from college. Look, everything you put out, especially if you're going to make the allegations that she's making, there's no room for error on that. Like, you need to triple check to make sure that you actually have the right place. Now, I was just trying to correct her. I wasn't trying to discredit her by any means. What's more concerning to me is that the French Foreign Ministry of Military Affairs I mean, I haven't been involved in the national security world in 15 years, but somehow I'm still on their radar. I mean,
Well,
I
isn't it
get it, but
interesting that I've literally served with French soldiers overseas, and yet they know who you are, not me?
well, no, not
Actually,
that's
they don't
not.
know who you are. They got your bio wrong.
Yeah, they don't know me anymore, but yeah. Hey, someone in your chat said they're from Gaylord, Laser Jim.
Okay.
My wife's from Cannon Falls, that area, Laser Jim.
Good to see O'Bannon, Tucker, Gene J. Ellison on here. Laser Jim as well. Thank you guys for
Really,
watching live.
sexiest audience alive, Jake. You have the sexiest audience I have ever seen. God, and they just get more beautiful by the day. As like the show goes on, they just get sexier, and I don't even think that was possible, but it is.
All right, you guys, I brought Andy Parrish to lighten up the mood because it's gonna be really interesting. So let's get right into it. Tim Walz, yeah, you get your gay cowboy hat on. Tim Walz has made. Speaking of gay guys, Tim Walz has made all the headlines here this week nationally. It's fascinating to me. I mean, we go from a story, and we covered this last week on the show, a story about how money from Minnesota is going to fund Al-Shabaab, Somali terrorist, which we've kind of known this actually going back to prior to COVID. This was very infamous in the CCAP fraud program. I mean, if people don't remember this, they were ripping off child care assistance program in Minnesota. It's just all the Department of Human Services programs are ripping us off. And by they, I'm referring to Somali immigrants or people that are refugee status that have come over here with their crappy, values from where they grew up, which is kind of a crazy third world country, and are ripping off Minnesota taxpayers. And the left wing of politics in the state doesn't want to do anything about it because for fear of, labeling a community. And that doesn't mean obviously every Somali person's a terrible person, but we have to call a spade is it comes from one community. This is who's defrauding our government to a great amount. And then the case,
the rationale, the reasoning behind that, Jake, this isn't anything new coming out of the Somali community, out of the Riverside area over in Minneapolis.
Oh yeah, I wish it was only Cedar Riverside. It's way more than that nowadays.
Yeah. But it's nothing new, and the problem that one of the things the Patriot Act was supposed to address, which clearly it didn't, is that good luck going into your bank right now, Jake. Go take out 10 grand and watch what happens.
Yeah,
all right. You watch what happens to you if you go take out 10 grand in cash. Now, imagine if you're transferring $1,000 or $500 at a time to a country that has no government and that's run by drug lords. All of that fraud money, I guarantee you, is going back to Somalia. It's going to pay for protection. It's going to pay for it's going to pay for a lot of things. And we're using our own money essentially to fund terrorism. And to me, that just doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. And, that's obvious to the extreme, even if it's not funding terrorism, which is bad enough. It's that we're being defrauded. And this is a tune of billions of dollars that are already kind of known. And I say kind of known because it's still being prosecuted. Feeding Our Future was the big one that emerged 2022. By the way, right during the campaign for governor, and Walz still got reelected. So there's a problem. All right, so let's go to this. New York Post actually got an article on this, and New York Times has one too, which is really interesting, being critical of the fraud under Tim Walz. New York Post, owned by Rupert Murdoch, so center right, although they're not quite Fox News. Gotcha. But like New York Times, that's a left-wing newspaper, and they're criticizing. I would show you the New York Times one, but unfortunately, New York Times got the paywall you can't get through. So this is Minnesota social service workers slam Governor Tim Walz is 100% responsible for massive fraud of the $1 billion ruling state. Hundreds of state workers at the Minnesota Department of Human Services publicly excoriated Governor Tim Walz for allowing a massive fraud scandal to unfold under his watch and retaliating against their whistleblowers. Over $1 billion in taxpayers' money was fleeced by dozens of scammers in Minnesota's Feeding Our Future fraud scandal, the largest known COVID-19 fraud case in the country. This is a quote. Tim Walz is 100% responsible for massive fraud in Minnesota. We let Tim Walz know of fraud early on, hoping for a partnership in stopping fraud. But no, we got the opposite response. The Minnesota DH employees X account, which represents over 480 staffers, chided Saturday. Tim Walz systematically retaliated against whistleblowers using monitoring, threats, repression, and did his best to discredit fraud reports instead of partnership. We got the full weight of retaliation, the account charged. It's scary, isolating, and left us wondering, who can we turn to? Just last week, the Justice Department prosecuted the 78th defendant in what prosecutors have dubbed the Feeding Our Future fraud scheme. At least 59 people have been convicted so far. During the past 5 years, fraudsters targeted Minnesota's generous social safety net. And by the way, generous, yes, generous is being, Andy, when you lived in Minnesota, it was bad enough. Nowadays, like, they literally expanded government and just the Department of Human Services run amok, which is not a shocker to any of us that this is the place that's being plagued right now by fraud. So Minnesota's generous social safety net by setting up companies that build the state for social services that prosecutors allege were never actually provided. Feeding Our Future, a nonprofit founded in 2016 that purported to help feed school children, had partnered with dozens of local businesses under the pretense of providing food aid. Okay. And you get this. This is you can go check out this article yourself on the New York Post website. Moral of the story, I wouldn't have guessed couple weeks ago we would have been making national news on something that many of us have been talking about for a long time. Certainly it's been leading the gubernatorial debate on the Republican side and even on the independents. But now we've got President Trump calling Walz a retard, which fair criticism. And Trump's Department of Treasury now doing its own investigation in Minnesota. I mean, it's so fascinating to me watching all this hit the national spotlight, but I'm from Minnesota. What is the perspective from someone that's not actually in the state right now?
Well, I mean, there's two things. One, we don't call people retarded. All right. The president said that. That's not acceptable. All right. But
why is that not acceptable?
The word retarded, Jake, I mean, for people with disabilities, they're not retarded. This is their way of life.
We're not calling someone with, like, you have Down syndrome. We're talking about someone that's acting retarded. Like, I think, well, first of all, I think we're reclaiming that word, and it's directed in the right way.
I just want to say that, people with disabilities are just near and dear to my heart, and I know they are yours too. And anything that they find derogatory, I tend to be a little cautious around. But let me go back to what you were talking about. And here's the deal is the Minnesota media, they're like a pack of Trojan condoms. Eventually you're going to have one that breaks and you're in big trouble, right? Well, they've been protecting Tim just like a condom should. And it's just the constant pressure of media like yours and others that finally get the other media to look into this. And you get that one crack. And believe me, that's not, well, don't believe me. I mean, I'm a married guy, but I'm saying that if that's not what you want to have happen. And so, but they've protected him for so long. If you look at what Tim has gotten away with, I mean, Tim stood up on the national stage and said that his son witnessed a shooting, which was an outright lie.
Right.
An outright lie. And the local media knew it was an outright lie. Gus didn't witness a shooting. And yet they let him go with it. And so, it doesn't surprise me. I wish it did, but it doesn't. And Tim's just going to be more emboldened, frankly.
What's leading to all this sudden, I guess, media turning on Tim Walz? I mean, is it just because it's become so ridiculous at this point? Like, because we're learning every day of a new fraud scheme, it seems like. And by the way, none of this has been uncovered by the Republican-led Committee on Fraud at the state legislature. Like, none of it.
What are they doing?
It's all from our media or the U.S. attorney.
What are they doing? What's your committee doing then?
Dude, it's the biggest joke. This is the thing about this show is, like, I'll just literally go after both sides. Obviously the Democrats, there's no hope on that side. But even the Republicans, like, these guys are a bunch of phonies. And they pretend like they got this big fraud committee and they do jack shit. In fact, we're going to get into how the newest candidate even calls them out on that. Because this is the whole bread and butter for Kristen Robbins, whose campaign is probably on the massive decline. Apparently, our guys told me that she just got a new text message sent out from Nikki Haley. So Nikki Haley's doing her bidding in the state of Minnesota. That's a good strategy there. And Lisa Demuth, like, this is their campaign, is we started this fraud committee. The fraud committee's found zero fraud. We've shown the website here. If you go to the fraud committee website, it does the last news story. Oh yeah. I guess you haven't seen this, Andy. You will find this hilarious. I'm just gonna Google Minnesota House Fraud Committee. I'm assuming their website comes up. I don't honestly remember the URL on the top of my head. Oh shoot, that didn't come up.
Here's the one thing that drove me nuts about Republicans in Minnesota. Here's my preferred approach to campaigning and winning elections. Raise a lot of money, keep your candidate on message, and beat the ever-living hell out of your opponent and keep swinging. Do not stop. Follow them to the hospital and hit them while they're in a gurney. Do not stop. And Republicans here in Minnesota, it's like, I don't know. Are they afraid to fight? Did they get their ass kicked once? Are they trying to be popular? I mean,
are they really Democrats?
What is a Republican nowadays? We can go into that. That's why I'm running for office over here in Wisconsin, is because I can't recognize what a Republican is anymore.
Right.
But what is a Republican?
I mean, it should be someone that's for limited government, and that has a lot of connotations with it. But like, I call most of these people rhinos because they vote for these omnibus bills that grow government. Like, that's the one unifying thing of all Republicans, is that we believe in less government, right? So if you keep voting for more government, how are you a Republican? And we could expand that to like abortion. We could expand to gun rights. Like why are gun rights a good issue for the Republicans? It's because government is expanding itself by taking your guns away, or to put more laws on law-abiding citizens, right? Well, I could take on a million different issues, but that's what should unite all Republicans, is this idea that we are standing for less government.
So Jake, I have Republicans over in the La Crosse area mad at me right now. Me, of all things. And you know what they're mad about? That I'm calling out local governments who are putting up flock cameras. Do you know what a flock camera is? License plate reader? Mm-hmm. They don't discriminate. They record every car that goes by. If you block your license plate from flock, that's okay. They came up with a new AI technology to fingerprint and give every vehicle a unique fingerprint now. Think of anyone with a 2A sticker on the back of their car.
Right.
Think anybody with a MAGA sticker on the back of their car. And the way Flock works is, once you sign up, you join a network, a mesh network of everybody else who's signed up for Flock. So a cop in Georgia looking for a vehicle could type in your vehicle, Jake, and through AI, it could find you in Chicago and then follow you. And Republicans are mad at me for telling them that police shouldn't have that. What is a Republican if we can't even protect privacy?
Well, okay, so that's a great way to segment into maybe the heart of this conversation here today. And this is fun for me because, Andy, you don't know who Chris Maydell is. I don't really either. But we've got the 20th candidate running against Tim Walz. I mean, like, it's ridiculous. I was just talking to the guys the other day. I'm like, is Scott Jensen, what's his campaign even look like these days? Because that's so yesteryear. Like, there's been so many candidates announcing against Tim Walz on the Republican side that it's like, I literally don't know the number right now. Okay.
Look,
and you could say that's a good thing, but I don't think these guys are great candidates, to be honest with you.
No, Scott Jensen is he's just got to go away. Go be a doctor, dude. That's what you're good at. Go be a doctor, Scott, because you don't get the Second Amendment. And look, he said he put forth a bill several years ago that would have created some type of gun registry. I mean, it would have created a backdoor registry. Do you know what I'm talking about, Jake? Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. And then he said he put it out there to have the discussion. Bullshit. You don't put things like that out there ever if there's a chance it can pass, because you wanted to have the discussion.
Right.
And so, I mean, that is our Second Amendment is very clear. Shall not infringe. Pretty simple. That's settled law. You don't need to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I wish that was settled law, by the way. It should be settled law. It's unfortunately not. There's too many there's too much wiggle room in that infringy language, right? But yes, I 100% agree with you. So let's bring in Chris Maydell. This is an attorney, Andy, an attorney pretty high-profile attorney actually in Minnesota, who is now running on the Republican ticket in Minnesota. I'm going to get into his Democrat donations. I think that's going to discredit him, but let's let you hear from the horse's mouth who he is. This is the press conference he had yesterday. I think this is outside his law office.
Who am I? I'm from Waseca, Minnesota. I was born and raised in Waseca.
Stop. What did he just say in the beginning?
He said he's from Waseca, Minnesota.
Oh, very beginning. How did he open?
I'm from Waseca, Minnesota.
He asked himself a question.
So first, for priorities and goals that I have with respect to this campaign and my candidacy.
I think he asked, who am I? Put General Stockdale next to him. Remember General Stockdale during the debate?
That's what he says. And I notice this is common for him. He poses his own questions. Here it is, Andy.
So first, who am I? I'm from Waseca, Minnesota. I was born and raised in Waseca. And this is beautiful downtown Waseca. For the first time in my life, I just had a trial in Waseca this last summer. It was actually, it was a lot of fun. And then I went to...
Oh, I should tell you guys, his announcement, like rally, it had people there, okay, supporters, which is very different than Lisa Damo's campaign. This announcement rally took, I think, 90 minutes, and it was done by PowerPoint. But I actually am not a hater on that. I actually kind of appreciate it. You could have lame talking points. This guy actually thought through this stuff and put together a presentation. But it was very interesting. It was not a very normal, in a good way, I guess, not normal press conference. Here you go.
Sacred Heart Elementary School, Catholic school from grades 1 through 4. I was an altar boy through my senior year of high school. I was repeatedly admonished and kind of made fun of by our priest, Father John Kuntz, who I absolutely love. But as my brother, who is also an altar boy, will tell you, Father Kuntz very frequently would like to make his altar boys laugh in the middle of service. I went to I graduated from Waseca High School, and then I went to McAllister College in St. Paul, went to the University of Michigan Law School, and then I worked for the Justice Department just for a short time. I then went to Robbins Kaplan, which is a national law firm here in town. I was the head of the Business Litigation Department there, which is the largest department. And I also was a member of elected member of the executive board. Ron Schutz, who's running for Attorney General.
Okay, so you get the gist of it. He is an altar boy from Waseca, Minnesota, and became an attorney. This is who he is. Are you tired? Are you sleepy there, Andy?
No, I mean, that clearly, I mean, I'm not going to say whose fingerprints are all over that, but I can tell you who's behind that announcement.
Go ahead.
It's not people you're going to like. I can tell you that.
Well, yeah, go ahead. What do you think?
No, I think he just right off the bat, just by the setup and then by dropping Ron Schutz's name, that's your establishment guy right there. That guy right there that was at I don't know his name, but Ron Schutz is a well-known intellectual property attorney in downtown Minneapolis. He was chairman of Intellectual Takeout when Intellectual Takeout was around. That spun off from, I think, Annette Meek's group. What's that group?
Oh, I don't even know. It's like some capitalism group. I've never seen.
Yeah, it spun off from that.
Yeah.
And so this is the Walker group. This is their guy.
Well, he's kind of made a name for himself in some high-profile things, like defending Ryan Londegren. It was a state trooper that was on murder charges, and then and he got him off. And then Alpha News as well. So he defended Alpha News, which is a big part of his campaign. In his bio, he talks about the cases he's taken on, and there's one that I don't think he wants to talk about right now in front of Republicans, but we're going to give you the scoop on that because I think it's something you'll be very interested in learning about, because this is in his own words. He's mostly in civil litigation. He only takes on criminal cases that interest him. Let's go to this clip here. By the way, this is courtesy of Fox 9 live streaming his campaign announcement.
Most of my practice, about 90%, is civil. I do criminal cases. Those get much more media attention. I really do those mostly when I get interested and frankly get really angry about some underlying matter that's happening, or a judge or somebody will ask me to take on a case.
Okay, so that's what he says. He's mostly in civil litigation, but I'm going into criminal stuff when I'm interested in a case. This is a story from 2016. In March of 2016, Minneapolis man who pleaded guilty to threatening agents is released from jail when a judge ordered Khalid Abdullah Kadir to be released from jail. Some of the young man's relatives broke down in tears. Abdulkadir's, I have no idea how to say this name. Abdullah Kadir. I think that's how it is. Aunt used her overflowing headscarf to wipe away the tears of joy and hugged Abdul Kadir's mother. Okay, I'm not even going to try. I'm very happy today, were some said outside the courtroom. One early December morning, more than 30 law enforcement officer personnel descended Abdul Kadir's home, and according to Abdul Kadir's father, breaking the doors and throwing a smoke grenade inside the home before arresting the 19-year-old man. The Minneapolis man has been in Sherburne County Jail after he was charged with impeding and retaliating against federal agents. All right, you ready for this? I'm sorry for everything I did, Abdul Kadir told U.S. District Judge Karen Schreier. I learned from my mistake. Prosecutors say Abdullah Kadir took his anger to Twitter after authorities arrested his friend Abdulrazak Warsam and in December for plotting to join ISIS in Syria. Abdullah Kadir was arrested December 11th after he posted tweets that said he was going to kill FBI agents for taking away his brothers. They will find on the floor bodies dropping fast. Kill them, FBI, read one of his tweets. The posts were deleted less than 30 minutes later, but before Abdul Kadir had the chance to delete what he posted on December 9th, the FBI was on it. Agents had been tipped off by an informant and obtained screenshots of his tweets according to his criminal complaint detailing charges against him. By his own admission in court today, Mr. Abdul Kadir threatened to kill a federal judge and law enforcement officers, said U.S. Attorney Andrew Lugar. The 3 years of probation he will begin serving today is a strong reminder that threatening federal officials
3
with
years
violence.
probation.
What's that?
3 years probation.
3 years. Well, you'll see why. Is a strong reminder that threatening federal officials with violence is not a legitimate means of voicing dissent, but will be prosecuted forcefully by my office. Abdullah Kadir's attorney, Chris Madel, said the government decided to offer his client a plea deal after they filed a motion Monday morning compelling the government to bar some evidence from the trial, which was set to start on Tuesday. Quote, we are pleased that the government realized, even at the 11th hour, of the weakness of their case, he said. We are happy to get his misdemeanor. There you go. Okay, so what I find very fascinating about this, Chris Madel is talking about cases that he only takes on that are of interest to him. Also talking about, and by the way, if you watch the 90 Minutes press conference, gloating about how much he's supporting cops, right? This is on his record. It's actually on, Mega Jesse looked this up. It's actually still on Chris Madel's attorney website, boasting that he defended this guy. Now, I'm not making an argument.
Well, I mean,
I want to get this out. I'm not making an argument against an attorney defending someone that looks guilty, right? Because I don't want to get in that. Everyone's got a right to an attorney. However, this guy's running for governor of Minnesota, and he's running on a platform, and he's saying that he only takes ones that are interesting to you. I think it's a matter of importance to people, the kind of guy that he did defend.
Well, I mean, that's because Minneapolis is going to be important to him in a general election, and so is some of that Somali community. I mean, we've always, Jake, said if you can't win them over, try to mitigate them, try to get them to not work against you, and so his move is calculated in a way. When did he defend? He defended that guy in December of what, last year?
It looked like 2016.
He defended him that long ago, huh? You're gonna have to ask him about that then, because look, you don't make death threats against FBI agents or federal officers. Look, you don't go that far.
Right.
I've had death threats leveled against me, and it's not fun. I mean, they're not serious, but dude, it's not that wears on you, wears on your family. You just don't do that.
Right.
And for him to get off with just 3 years probation, man, I mean, I would like to have seen him doing some type of public service for the FBI or something, getting to know these people. But golly, 3 years probation, that's not enough.
Yeah, and listen, the one thing that seems very evident to me is Chris Madel's a very good attorney, right? Okay, so credit where credit's due. I got to say, I don't really want an attorney to be our governor of Minnesota. Now, granted, you can't get worse than the current governor, but in that case, Chris Madel's also guilty of being a donor to Tim Walz. We're going to get to that in just a little bit. Now, this is where I think Chris did a very good job, knowing that fraud is a big part of this campaign. It's not the most important thing. I will bet everything I've got that the number one issue that voters go to the ballot box for in November 2026 is the affordability of life. 100% convinced on that one, right? Are you convinced?
I am too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And you're a seasoned election pro. So listen, that's what people are going to go to the ballot box. But the underlining thing here of Walz and what makes him very, very vulnerable, other than the fact that he's trying to go for an unprecedented third term, is the fact that he's got all this fraud. And I think if you can couch those two things together, you got a winning strategy. You guys, this is the way I look at it. You have this unaffordable government that grew tremendously under Tim Walz by 36% in one biennium, and they robbed your surplus, so you have less money in your pocket, and meanwhile the money goes over to terrorists in Somalia. So I think you can merge those two topics together. I don't think any of these candidates will, and most can't, because if they serve in the legislature, they're guilty of spending that surplus. They vote for that stuff. Chris Maydell's got an opportunity here. All right, so this is where I think Chris did a very good job. He actually goes after the other Republicans on fraud, on the same things we have said on the show many times. What good is this fraud committee? They found zero fraud. And the big push by Republicans in the legislature, Andy, this last session on how to combat fraud is have a new Office of Inspector General. So the solution, Andy, by Republicans in the legislature is create more government. That was their solution.
No, the solution is have the Attorney General do their job. That's the solution.
Well, unfortunately, they don't have much. Unfortunately, they don't have much that they can do on that, other than the fact that they could defund the Attorney General's office, and they actually expanded. I can't remember if Jesse was here. He'd probably know. It was like 15-20% they grew Keith Ellison's budget by. This is the Republicans that made a deal with the Democrats. All right, so this is Chris Maydell on fraud, and I actually got to give him credit for this one.
Charged. Saw Governor Walz yesterday being interviewed regarding fraud. Asked if he was proud of how the state acted. He said he was proud that people were being put in jail. As a lawyer, as somebody that actually understands the federal criminal process, I can tell you without equivocation, he has had absolutely nothing to do with one of those people being placed behind bars.
By the way, I forgot that he slams Walz, and right, yeah, like when Walz made that statement, I'm proud of putting people in jail. It's like, you had nothing to do with that, Tim Walz. Okay, so he gets credibility, obviously, from being someone, a lawyer of the courts, right?
Zero. In fact, there have been several times with respect to whistleblowers in this state that have wanted to come forward, and his administration has done everything they can in order to block those people from talking to people that could actually effectuate the federal criminal law. This administration has done zero with respect to fraud. Not one person has been fired.
Hold on, I got to speed it up here. Oops, got a commercial.
My office thought I was wearing
break, yeah.
Look at those nice new jeans or pants. All right. Sorry.
I'm looking at some person like me and saying, I want to get your vote. I'm trying to ask myself the same questions that I think that you would want to hear. What do I know about fraud? Well, quite a bit. I've actually done a lot of cases on fraud. This case that was in the New York Times, I represented the Tour de France winner and some other investors, and going after the Yellowstone.
Okay, I've lost my spot. What's that? Go ahead. Sorry, Eddie.
He's just going on way too long here.
Yeah, well, it's 90 minutes of this. I'm sorry, I lost my place here. I got to find this. Oh, 1810. Oh, sorry, I was off on that. 1810 is where he goes after the Republicans. So he goes after the Republicans, and I think this is actually a very good job. This is mimicking a lot of things that we said. I got the place here. It's so much easier when I had Dawson doing this stuff. All right, here is him going after, or here's Chris Maydell going after the Republicans.
Going on, and they have done nothing about it. Zero. Why are we still hearing about this every day with another trickle of indictments with another area? In fact, what some of my friends with respect to Republicans keep calling for is, you know what we should do? We should have another Office of Inspector General. Then that went dead. And then the Republicans say, we're expecting more schemes to be uncovered. We're fighting fraud. It's going to remain a top legislative priority. It's like rinse and repeat every year since 2020. We do not need more bureaucracy, more talk and excuses, more delay.
Okay, so right, good point, huh? Andy?
Yeah, he's boring. But I mean, good point. Yeah, he's boring.
He's boring. I get that. And once again, I'm giving you clips of a 90-minute. I keep wanting to say press conference. It wasn't a press conference. It was a rally speech, right? He didn't take questions from the media, which is pretty common, but that's fine. It's his turn, right? He gets to do what he wants to do. Hopefully he does make himself available to the media. But
is he coming on your show?
I haven't made up my mind on it. I might. So for for transparency's sake. Well, Andy, we've been in this game for a long time. Like, you're my college roommate. We were very active in politics 25 years ago, right? So, I know some things, and I just realized that most of these people in politics are full of shit. Okay, that's what the show's about: exposing corrupt politicians lying corporate media. This show is not interesting to me if all I'm doing is bringing a bunch of people onto the show to tell you bullshit. Now, yes, you guys know I will call them out on, but guess what? They're not going to come on the show, right? Those people aren't going to come on the show. So do I reach out to them? I don't know. Maybe I should, just because it's telling when they won't come on the show, and then maybe, they come on the show and we learn something about them. Listen, in good faith, I interviewed a Democrat last week, and I interviewed earlier in the week, or was it 2 weeks ago, Mike Newcomb, who's running as Forward Party, okay? And it turns out we don't really have a ton of agreements, okay? But it was a good conversation. But these kind of people that I think are fraudulent Republicans, they aren't going to come on the show. But I guess in the end of the day, you never know until you invite them. All I know is, at this point, I offered Ryan Wilson, the running mate to Lisa Damuth, to come on the show, and the guy's ignoring me. So
she already has a running mate.
Oh, it's quite the campaign there, Andy. She announced week 2 her running mate. By the way, we knew about this ahead of time, obviously, and we let our audience know, or at least our premium insiders. It's a pretty interesting campaign. So
way too early to name a running mate, but
yeah. It's interesting strategy, I'll tell you that. Yeah. It's basically to try to raise money through like financial. I mean, like, his name is Ryan Wilson. Do you know who Ryan Wilson is? Most people don't, right? Okay. No offense to Ryan Wilson, although it is interesting that he won't come on the show. Make your case. Tell us why. I think Lisa Damuth's not a great candidate. Make your case. We'll give you the opportunity. So that's what I think. I think that's what's that.
As lieutenant governor, that's his job, is to go make the case. So go out and make the case.
Yeah. And apparently, I'll tell you guys this is a little inside information. The Republicans, Andy, you'll find this funny. The Republicans, especially that campaign right now, what they're doing is working the state central delegate list so that they win the straw poll or do well in the straw poll at the state central meeting mid-December. Guess who won the state central straw poll back in 2021?
Shut up.
Paul Gazelka. I mean, and he came in dead last. He came in dead last in the endorsing convention. That doesn't matter. That's the most.
You don't want to win the statewide straw poll. I don't think anyone's done well. Ortman won that.
Even the statewide straw poll, Andy. This is state central. This is like the insiders club of the Republican Party. Like, it means nothing. Like,
no, you gotta make a play at it, Jake. You have to, But if you win,
make a play. But if that's your whole strategy right now, that seems ridiculous.
Yeah, if you win, you got to downplay it, and you got to make a joke saying, "Well, I guess it doesn't have the best records. Hopefully, I change that." Because it doesn't really. The state central straw poll does not have a good track record.
No, I mean, like I said, Gazelka came in last place at the endorsing convention in 2022, but he won that because it's insiders of insiders. Although I will say this. Seems like Action for Liberty has a ton more influence nowadays at State Central, and I think people realize that.
Good.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Good.
Isn't it sad that an outside group has to spawn up to do the job of what the party should be doing? I mean, tell me how screwed up that is.
Yeah, the party's not following its own principles. It's not following its own, and they don't protect their endorsement. They allow.
So Jake, over here in Wisconsin, we were going to open up online gambling, and the Republicans had this great idea. Republicans. that required all of the gaming servers to be on an Indian reservation. And they were going to, and then the tribes were going to regulate and charge. There's total monopoly.
Did they do the land acknowledgement when they were pushing that bill?
Did they what?
Did they do the land acknowledgement when they were doing that bill?
God,
you know what land acknowledgement is,
those
right?
Things. You know,
like we are on Ho Chunk land. This is stolen land from the Ho Chunk Nation. You know, but they're never going to give it back. You know, but
no,
we have to acknowledge.
They don't give it. Number one, they don't give it back, and number two, I want to ask, who did the Ho Chunk steal it from? Because look, you think that Native Americans weren't out conquering other tribes and taking them as slaves and taking their land? I mean, look at the Fighting Sioux. I mean, they got the fighting in front of their name. You know, you got them. You got the Cherokee.
No, they were just fighting the white man.
No, they weren't. They were killing each other.
No, come on. They were all living in peace and harmony before this, Andy. What are you talking about?
Are we going to give it back to the people they stole it from?
Right.
All right. Anyway.
Obviously, I think our audience knows it's a ridiculous claim, but that's what they do. You know, it's land acknowledgement. It's the dumbest thing ever. You know, liberals are just so interesting. You know, we opine so much on Republicans, fraudulent Republicans, rhinos, whatever you want to call them, on this show because they are trying to speak our language and do the exact opposite. The left obviously has no hope, right? Left is just a lost cause. You know, at least when you and I were in college, there was a free speech left. There was a health freedom left. There was a anti-war left. That doesn't exist anymore. The modern left is crazy. Like, there's no solutions coming from the left. But I think you guys understand that, so we don't need to waste too much time and effort on it. Obviously, you know our opinion on it. All right. So this is where. So that's a great segue to what I'm about to talk about. The left doesn't offer any solution. So why is Chris Maddow donating so much to Democrats? Okay, now listen. Yes, I understand. I understand. Donald Trump donated to Hillary Clinton. I know he gave to all these bad people. Okay. But this is really fascinating. You're going to find this one just ridiculously fascinating, Andy. His string of donations and the timing of these donations. This is, let's see here. This is an article written by Maga Jesse at Action for Liberty. Big Democrat donor to run for governor as a Republican. This was actually November 28th. So knowing that this guy was going to announce, Action for Liberty published this article. And it shows Maddow's FEC and Campaign Finance Board donations. You got Betty McCollum, Angie Craig, Kamala Harris presidential campaign, which would have been Biden's campaign because it was March of 2024. No donations to Donald Trump, but $3,300 donation to Biden's campaign, which became Kamala Harris's campaign, right? The Biden-Harris campaign, let's just be honest, right? Jamie Raskin, $250. Steve Simon, lots of donations for Steve Simon. Amy Klobuchar's PAC U.S. Senate campaign, I think her presidential campaign at one point. Joe Biden's 2020 campaign, none to Donald Trump. So this guy, I'm pretty certain, did not vote for Donald Trump. Most likely actually voted for the Democrats here. This is one of the ones that I think is very telling. Tim Walz for governor, December 15th of 2021. Just so you guys, if you're fact checking this is a CFB. This is Chris Maddow. He gave to Tim Walz on December 15th of 2021. This is in the heart of our battle against vaccine mandates, getting justice for
during lockdown, right?
Well, we weren't lockdowns in 2021. This was more of the vaccine stuff, but this is post-lockdown. So you were absolutely right. Tim Walz had already locked down the state multiple times, shut down businesses. This is right at that time. And the idea that you would give to this tyrant wannabe Tim Walz is insane. There's no donation record. I just showed you guys on the CFB. No donation record for Scott Jensen or Kendall Qualls, who was running in the endorsement. The guy only donated one side for governor in 2022, and that was Tim Walz, the guy behind all this fraud. So now, isn't it interesting? He's running against this guy. Maybe if you donated Tim Walz, I don't know
how you run against a guy you donate to.
Well, you have a change of heart. I could understand that. In 2018, maybe you're like, Tim Walz is a moderate Democrat. But after COVID, you knew who Tim Walz was after COVID. That was obvious.
Well, you want to hold on. Let's first of all, let's back up. Oh, he's going to get through the nominations committee is beyond me. That's the first thing I'd drop on the nominations committee and just be like, he's not fit to run, and see if I can get him out that way. But there's no reason, there's no excuse for those donations, right? I mean, what
you want to hear?
How can you have that much of a change of heart, right? I mean, I want people to come onto our team. I want people to switch sides, but I need to see now a little bit of, you need to earn some trust back with me before I support you, right? Or before I do something. So I need to see some action from this guy, and there's not enough time. I think the plan is you all got to figure out a way to keep him off the floor. I mean, that's before the rules are adopted. I would.
Well, I don't agree with that at all. By the way, the establishment usually runs the nominations committee. What you're referring to is this cronyism that goes on in the Republican ranks, where they try to block candidates from even, presenting. And I think, why not? Let the delegates hear it, but let the facts be known about this guy, right? So here is his explanation. He addressed this.
Jake. You don't want to turn into a circus either. I mean, you know what I mean? You don't want everybody up there. I mean, the guys, if you're not a Republican, get the hell out of our convention.
Well, he makes the case for a Republican. And by the way, who is a Republican, as we mentioned beforehand?
That's a good point.
Yeah, right. I mean, Scott Jensen backed gun control and was, basically stabbed all the pro-life people in the back. Just so people understand, Action for Liberty is no small group here. This is a Star Tribune, the day of Chris's announcement. They write, ahead of its campaign announcement, Action for Liberty, an influential right-wing group in Minnesota, wrote in a blog post, Madel supported Biden and all kinds of insane Democrats. How could grassroots Republicans possibly take him seriously in a GOP primary? There you go. This is an article. I think this came out probably Sunday by Ryan Faircloth, Minneapolis attorney. Oh, sorry. It came out Monday. What am I talking about? It came out Monday because that was when he announced. Minneapolis attorney Chris Madel announces GOP campaign for governor. This is Madel addressing up front at the end of his announcement, addressing this up front, knowing that this is already an issue that caught the attention of delegates and activists, and then obviously the Star Tribune report on it. Here you go. This is Chris Madel's explanation.
Or more or less going to be saying about me. So, first, and they've already kind of started online, the people on the left and on the right, but I'm going to start with the people on the right. So, on the right, I have given money to Democrats. This is true. I am in good company with respect to this. President Reagan, President Trump also gave.
I have to say, at some point, Andy, in this, he actually, but yeah, Democrat Reagan that supported, like, that's a totally different Democrat, just FYI. But he
just put himself in the same league as Reagan and Trump. Wow.
Well, but he even kind of disowns Trump too. I can't remember where I saw this, and I wish I had this handy. But basically, I'm not running, with Trump. I'm running as my own guy. But now he associates with Trump in the sense, giving to Democrats. So
Democrats, and if you are looking for an apology from me, you have come to the wrong person. My brother will tell you I essentially have not changed very much since high school. I had a Reagan-Bush poster in my room as a high school student. I was a nerd, and I have done everything I can with respect to protecting my clients and my business. I'm in a bipartisan business, and I have been extremely successful doing what I have done. Ryan Londrigan is a free man today, due in part to my...
What the fuck does that have to do with anything with him giving the Democrats?
Hold that comment here. I want to play this again because I think this is important.
I should have dropped that.
No, that's right. I'm pausing it right after this. So this is his explanation right here.
Contributions to Democrats. Free man I have done. Ryan Londrigan is a free man today, due in part to my contributions to Democrats. Of that, I have no doubt.
Okay, now Action for Liberty did a follow-up article on this. Andy, what the hell is he talking about? Is he basically saying that he's part of a pay-to-play scheme?
I mean, as a lawyer, he should know if he's donating money for favors. I mean, you're not donating the money. Then you're giving with a contingency, and you can't give to a federal or state campaign with any contingency. So I'd like to hear more about that. Yeah, I would too, Jake. You should.
So the only judge that even comes up on the radar is Paul Teason, the former state Speaker of the House, Democrat Speaker of the House, for the Minnesota Supreme Court. How did giving $4,000 to Tim Walz get Ryan Lundgren off? By the way, the thing that really got Ryan Lundgren off, not to say that Chris wasn't a good attorney for him, was it was a ridiculous case in the first place.
So Lundgren, I believe, was the state trooper who fired on 35W, correct? This has nothing to do with fighting.
Guy speeds away, and both him and his partner are in trouble.
All right. Well, I mean, look, the body cam footage of that and the dash cam, I remember that vividly. He did have a fear. There was a fear in his life, was immediately in danger. That's what got him off, is that his training kicked in.
Well, it doesn't mean that an attorney didn't play a role in it, because obviously they're trying to prosecute it. But my question is, first of all, you didn't give to Trump. You gave to Kamala Harris's campaign. You gave to Joe Biden. You gave to Joe Biden, who all of us knew, we're being honest, knows that this guy was senile. This is also the guy that had the largest infringement on free speech in the history of America. This is according to a judge in Missouri, I think it was. And also a guy that instituted vaccine mandates. People died from that. This is the guy you donated to, and Kamala Harris, because let's be honest, everyone that was being honest knew they were going to ditch Joe Biden. And so she was there. I thought it was going to I thought for sure that it was going to be Michelle Obama. I couldn't believe that they just had that cackling hyena take over. But anyhow, that's who he gave to, not Trump. And then he gave to Tim Walz and not a so how did that get Ryan Lundgren off? I think he owes everyone an explanation on that.
So Lundgren was charged in state court, correct? He wasn't charged federally.
Well, it was Hennepin County. So yes, he wasn't federal. It wasn't a state court. It's a county court.
What would any of those federal officers have anything to do with
I don't know
state court issue? I mean, that's
what would even given to Paul Teason's campaign for Supreme Court have in this thing? I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, to me, look, you give that kind of money to Democrats, and again, I want people changing and coming over to our side, but I need some real estate between that last donation. I need a lot more real estate than just him saying it's for my business to show that he is. But look, I mean, the fact that he invokes Reagan and Trump, look, and the older I get and the more I study on Reagan, the more issues I actually have with Ronald Reagan. And I ask myself, why do we worship this guy? I'm not necessarily sure that's who you want to compare yourself to right now. Trump, sure. Now, as far as Walz is concerned, I think there's one thing that was very interesting that he said in the beginning, that he was an altar boy. Catholics historically, and I love Catholic people. I love Catholics. I'd be Catholic if I wasn't a Wells Lutheran. But Minnesota has a terrible record of electing Catholics. Rudy Perpich, I believe, was the last one to be elected. Scott Jensen lost. He was rejected because you're bringing the church with you, and the church has been very vocal. And so I get that. I think he's going to have a hard time anyway, especially when he gets up into some of that area like Duluth, some of that Norwegian area, where you got strong Lutherans. You go out to the middle of the state, like, where Midge was from, Jake. Wilmer. Wilmer, that area.
I don't agree with your assessment at all. I don't think Catholic's going to matter. And by the way, I don't know if he's even Catholic.
I think it's going to matter a lot. I mean, it's
you think so? It seems less and less.
A person of true conviction of Catholic faith is who we want, and that's who everybody hates. I mean,
Melissa Hortman was supposedly a Catholic.
Well, I mean, she can say she was baptized a Catholic, and I'm not gonna judge a person's heart.
We don't know Chris Mato. He might not even be going to mass. The church. He might not even be going to mass. I don't even want to weigh in on it, honestly. I think if there's anyone that needs to go to confession often, it's lawyers. But this is actually, as if that's not bad enough, and I think we're owed an explanation on that. That's crazy. It sounds like he's agreeing like he's in a pay-to-play scheme here, which is what we should all be rejecting in politics. But then he actually has got something that I thought was really fascinating following that conversation about how he's fought harder than anyone else. Listen to this.
You have a problem with that? I don't give a shit. By the way, I would like somebody to show me some other Republican candidate, not just for governor, but statewide, that has done more to advance conservative causes in Minnesota. I represented.
And by the way, and I think he said this in a different place, oops, that he's, fought harder for Republican causes than anyone else. Now, once again, he has done good things on the right, representing. He's going to explain, like, he fought for the Center America Experiment and Alpha News. He also represented the Minnesota Peace and Police Officers Association, which is not a right group. They came out and wrote a letter in support of gun control, right? This is a crony group. These are people that endorse. They're like legislator of the year was Dan Wolgamott, who ended up getting a Dewey and chugging vodka out of the back of his car. So there's your MPPOA, which really don't seem to have a good track record anyhow in primaries. But what an insulting thing. Like, some of us, I got my beef with Scott Jensen, but at least Scott Jensen was out there taking risks, talking about the truth during COVID and being canceled for it. You were donating to Tim Walz after COVID. What are you talking about, man? That to me discredits you. Now, I think he's got some good points. I think he's presenting very well. You obviously disagree. I kind of like the PowerPoint presentation, but man, the single biggest attack item is him donating to these Democrats, and then his explanation doesn't get him out of jail on that one. I don't see where the hope is on this guy. Maybe I'm wrong on it.
What was the really wealthy guy who ran for governor in Scott something or another out of Wayzata?
Scott Honor. That was 20.
Yeah, Scott Honor. I mean, Scott Honor made a donation, I think, to the Democrat campaign, but he said, "Look, I made a mistake and I want my money back."
Yeah.
Hard to argue with that, right?
That's a good one.
It was a while ago. If you just say I made a mistake, I want, But he's got a big list. I mean, Honor didn't have that kind of list. He's got a big list, Jake. And again, where's the conviction? All right. So here's the other thing, man. Here's what people don't understand about what you and I do and what others do is we have not given up, but I mean, we could have had a very lucrative careers in the private sector and made oogles of cash, and all of that. But our convictions, Jake and I, our values that are in us, say, no, we need to get in this fight and we need to do something. Okay. I can tell you that everyone watching this show right now is doing more to advance the conservative cause than any trial that he had. Do you know why? Because they're taking their time to come to learn about the issues and to be educated and to go out and spread that word. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry, or whatever he said. You've donated to Democrats, number one. And number two, you're saying that you've done more for the conservative cause? Go to caucus. Let me see you at caucus.
Yeah, I've never heard of this guy other than,
let me see you pound in a yard sign. Let me see you tune into shows like this and learn.
Right. No, I've never seen this guy in the Republican circles, So, what are you talking about? And where were you during COVID? I mean, does he have a record of, helping out during this COVID fight? No, you donated to Tim Walz. That is, to me, if you got COVID wrong, I think you just don't have any credibility in politics. The people that got COVID wrong just should not be in the world of politics. And that's so many people, by the way.
It's just like with life. If you can't get life right, then
listen, you see the guy, I mean, he's not asked any question yet, but this guy's pro-choice, right? It seems pretty obvious. No. And the pro-life people, great people in Minnesota, you guys are getting sold out so much. I shouldn't say you guys, I'm pro-life too. We're getting sold out so hardcore by the Republican Party and by people. This is the common trope now in Republican consultancy is we have to run from this issue of abortion. We cannot allow abortion to be on the campaign trail. So they're literally compromising on life. So that's a good point. Now I want to,
so hold on, wait a minute. I just want to clear that up real quick. Look, you're either pro-life or you're not. That's it. We had a Republican representative come out when our trigger law went into effect in Wisconsin, saying that you need to pass a law for rape, incest, mother's life's in danger, and possibly pain capable. Well, I mean, by the way, I'm pro-life. No, you're not. Just say you're pro-abortion, but in certain circumstances, we got to call them for what it is, Jake. Don't call them pro-choice anymore. That tests extremely well with the American public, which is why they get so pissed off when you call them pro-abortion,
right?
Because that does not. So,
okay. So one last thing, I want to leave on maybe a high note because with these,
who never compromised. So Retrad 01. Can I tell you a story? You never win by compromising. True story. Michelle Blackman and I, we were in our car. We were heading up to St. Cloud. Our driver was taking us up there. Her and I were in the back, and we were going over different things. And then I brought out the poll book from our latest survey, and I said, "Well, Michelle, here's what we're going to talk." And it was a almost Reagan-esque moment. And I will put her in the same category as Reagan up there, if not, well. But she took her hand and just gently pushed it back on my lap, the survey book that I had worked so hard on, had verbatims and everything. And she said, "Andy, I'll use your words like economic freedom versus lower taxes. Okay, I'll use those. But my job is not to follow public opinion. My job is to change public opinion." And I just kind of sat back. And then she said, "And re-election's not my problem. Re-election's your problem." And I'll never forget that. That woman did not compromise. She fought till she had nothing left in her. And yet she always won. And won by margins. I mean, we won by 10 points and 13 points in CD6, old CD6, when I ran it. People appreciate that. They want to know what they're going to get. And you knew what you got with her. Anyway.
Well, that's the problem is we see so many people compromising. And so the old thing is, oh, well, you can't win. You got to compromise. And it's like, no, that's what they want you to believe. No, stand up on your principles. Do what's right. That's the thing. I think it's shocking to me that so many people inside of our ranks, which are Christians and follow a person who didn't compromise with sin, and we don't get that message. Like, we need to understand the message. There is some black and white. You got to do the right thing. And for sure, the thing you don't compromise is on truth. Like, that's the one thing. You don't lie. All right. I do want to leave on this here. So at least Chris. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. No, you go.
Oh, I'll stop.
No, you go.
Chris Madel at least understands, and this was, I think, was this the third or fourth issue he brought up? Maybe it was the last one. But at least he understands affordability is a big item on the list. So here's his solutions on affordability.
And again, here's my proposals. Number one, no income tax, state income tax for your first $75,000.
Now, you got to imagine this is like, 51 minutes into his announcement. So it's like that crowd needed something to clap for, and he did get an applause line on it. So I do appreciate. This is where I see a big gap happening right now in people running against Tim Walz. And this is where Tim Walz is going to outmaneuver the Republicans. No doubt the fraud's going to bring down Tim Walz. And I'm not saying you don't keep attacking Tim Walz on the fraud. That does matter to people. But in the end of the day, people are going to go to the ballot box because they can't afford groceries. They can't afford, bills. They can't. We have a skyrocketing late or unpaid energy bills. That's a dilemma right now. Young kids can't afford houses. Like home ownership, the average first-time home buyers are like 40 years old now. These are monumental problems, and this is what's going to really lead people's intent or their voting behaviors in 2026. And Tim Walz just needs to come along with some bullshit and most likely socialistic program. And the Republicans have got an opportunity, and I've talked about this on the show, and this would be nice for Chris Madel, because not that I'm against getting rid of income tax for everything under $75,000. I'm fine getting rid of all income taxes. And you could actually get rid of income taxes in a year. This is the budget. And by the way, Thursday, they're going to release the newest budget forecast. So we're going to talk about it. But this was the last budget forecast. And we're currently in fiscal year 2026. Do you see how there's actually you see this blue line? There is actually a surplus right now. There is still a surplus. And they're not predicting a deficit until fiscal year 2028. So 2 years down the road. And that's assuming spending is $71 or basically $72 billion. But all the Republicans have to do is just cut spending down to $52 billion, right? They just got to cut the spending back to where it was during COVID, before Tim Walz grew it by 36%. And by the way, Republicans are also guilty of growing this government too. And you have $19 billion left over. Now, Andy, the income tax in the state of Minnesota collects I think it's $15, $16 billion a year. you could literally eliminate the income tax for everybody for a whole year. And by the way, I got to admit, like, if you did that, people might actually really enjoy not paying income taxes, and maybe they would there'd be some pressure to keep that. Or you could just give that money right back in checks, rebate checks, right? Whatever you're going to do, that helps with affordability. And I want to see a Republican actually take up that issue and run on it.
Well, I mean, so Jake, you've got kids at home. You got adorable kids. I don't know how that happened. Kirsten. It's got to be Kirsten.
Yep.
Not you.
Yep.
But I mean, how many times have you told your kids, like, all you got to do is this? That's it. And then we can go. That's it. Just make your bed.
Yep.
And then we can go. And your kids fight you on it. And you could have made it 5 times by then. Okay. Republicans are kind of the same way. You know, you say this is all they got to do, but they're looking at you like, I don't want to.
Oh, I
don't want to. That's number one. Number two, here's the thing that I think I hope that nobody underestimates. Have you ever spent any time one-on-one with Tim Walz?
Oh, I don't think that would go well.
I mean,
I've been in the room with him once, but like it was a big room. No, I don't think it would be a good thing for us to meet in person.
He came into Congress in 2006, the same year Michelle went in. And so we had quite a bit of flights together. I got to be honest with you. When you are alone with Tim or one-on-one with Tim, he is a likable guy. You put your politics aside. You're sitting on a plane. I mean, he is a very likable guy. And I think if they don't destroy somehow that oh gosh, gee jolly shucks, you know, folksy kind of nice guy look from him, no matter what they do, the guy's going to get reelected.
Well, I think you're talking about Tim Walz that existed many, many years ago. That obviously changed as he came into the governor's office, because we see an angry Walz. Because I know what you're talking about. It's like the old Congressman Tim Walz, the all shucks CD1 guy. Mm-hmm. And then everyone got to see him running for the big ticket, for vice president. So I don't know on a personal level if people could look at him that way anymore, because there's been many flavors of him at this point.
I'm just saying, if you get him one-on-one.
Yeah, but what does that matter? Most voters won't have him one-on-one, so it doesn't matter there.
Well, that's true. But I mean, if he goes up, I'm just thinking if he goes up to JR's and goes up to the corner for ice fishing for the opener, I mean, he is a likable guy when he's not in front of a camera.
Well, that's all politicians, right? They're likable guys. The ones that get elected. Yep. They're very likable. We have to remember that. So
you got to hammer him. Somebody has got to hammer him online. And I would hope that somebody has the balls to finally call him out, because it really bothered me when he said that his son Gus witnessed a shooting. His son Gus did not witness a shooting. His son Gus was in a YMCA, and at the end of the parking lot, at the end of the block, there was a shot fired. If you listen to what Tim during the debate, he's like, and Gus witnessed no, he was safe in a building. He was far away. He was just in the vicinity. Somebody's got to just hammer that down. Somebody has to hammer the guy is a liar. He can't be trusted. Take away the nice ability. Take that away.
Yeah, no, 100%. But I do think they got to pin the fraud to him, and obviously got to pin the lies on him. But in the end of the day, you also have to stand for something. And
Bannon. That's not how it went down, O'Bannon. Come on, it's the bobblefoot. Remember that?
O'Bannon, are you asserting something here?
Yeah, O'Bannon. He liked you because he wanted something special in the Minneapolis airport. That was Larry Craig, a senator from Idaho.
It did happen, yeah.
Yeah, and then the St. Paul. Yeah, so he's sitting there. So apparently, you tap your foot under the stall if you want like some, whatever. And that's what he was doing. Well, the St. Paul Saints then. Their giveaway the next week was Larry Craig Bobblefoots. That was the best. I got a Larry Craig Bobblefoot.
Oh, man. That's an old story. I forgot all about that. So great memory there. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show today, Andy. So you've got your own show and a website, I'm guessing. What do you want to plug here? No, don't put that gay cowboy hat back on. Oh, what are you showing your Kobe's?
No, these are Shaw ones made by Converse. Loving them. Never gonna wear them. I haven't shown your audience my shoes in a while.
This is great TV here. He just left camera view. No. What is it? Well, that actually doesn't look terrible. What is that one?
That's a Kobe 9.
That's a Kobe. Okay.
Yep. So that's a Kobe and it's a Kobe 9. So, and I won't wear that either. All right, I'm back.
I can't imagine too many people in my audience care about your shoes, by the way, just so you know. Where can people find you?
You can, so actually.
Candace Owens Show. That's where they can find you, right?
Yeah. Your audience may not know this, but I actually just announced that I am running for office in Wisconsin, county supervisor, because I hate flock cameras.
That's our county commissioner. He's running for, they call them supervisors over there. Oh, look at that. He doesn't even know how to operate his dang camera. We lost Andy, but that's fine. Anyhow, I gotta imagine he is. If you just Google Andy Parrish or something like that, geez, you know what? Let me just get his Twitter up. You can also go to my X there too, and you'll find it.
Hold on.
Oh, I thought we lost you. Andy Parrish.
Add me on Facebook because look, I never once thought I'd ever run for office. I always thought I'd be the guy beating the hell out of everybody running for office. But the stakes are too high, and these flock cameras, they need to come down. Number one, and number two, eminent domain is just an abuse.
Yeah.
Anyway, add me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. Yeah,
there you go. And it's at Andy Parrish, 2 R's in Parrish
on the Twitters. Yep,
on the Twitters. All right, thanks for coming on the show, buddy.
You bet. And by the way, you still have the sexiest audience ever. Like, I just sit here and I look at them and I'm like, oh my God, look at Boban and Andy's legacy as a campaign Jedi will be on the line. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, come on. He said politicians, not me, though, so that's good.
Sure. This episode is brought to you by Alpine Country in the great city of St. Cloud, Minnesota. Is also brought to you by Elite Guardian. Go to eliteguardianmn.com. I'll do a little bit of a post show here. Premium Insiders. If you're not a premium insider, let me post a link here real quick. This is for people to become a premium insider. See, this is the stuff that was nice to have Dawson for.
You know what?
There you go. And
And
if you're watching this after the fact, Mickey Murray, thank you. She said, thanks for today's program. Well, thank you for commenting on that. Join us in the post show. What else do I got? Thursday, I think I'll do a show Thursday. I'm very busy. Actually, there's Christmas events coming up, helping out quite a bit on that. So you guys can come listen to me talk there. Jake, we pay high taxes. We can't afford to be an insider, says Red Trad. It's only $8 a month. It's the best deal you can get, but I do appreciate that, Red Trad. It is getting costly out there. So, but anyhow, Christmas event next week. You can win multiple guns. I hope to see you there. That's at the Mermaid in Mounds View. So we'll be live on our post show. If you're watching after the fact, you can go to truthhurtsnews.com, click on support us there, or on the top of Rumble, you can click on join us. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be live in the post show in 30 seconds. Take care.